So what we saw was the whole Syrian family coming down the alley with bricks, with stones, throwing them. And I had to run out and intervene.
Well over 1,000 Syrian refugees have been settled into Hamilton, Ontario. And to date, the associated media attention has been really positive. Stories like this one of refugee women bringing Syrian cuisine to local kitchens in Hamilton. But have some refugees brought more sinister practices from home? One Hamilton neighborhood, minutes from downtown, has all the hallmarks of a Canadian residential community. Economically, socially, and culturally really diverse and welcoming. And when locals there learned that 3 Syrian families would be moving in, well, they banded together to ensure that the Syrian newcomers were cared for.
Once we first saw that there were Syrian refugees in the neighborhood, we had to look around to see what do they need. The first thing we did was we saw them trying to plant a tomato garden last spring, and we ran out and got them soil. Then we did a bike drive. When all the neighbors were cleaning out for the spring, we all gave them our patio furniture, so they ended up with a big patio set, and it was good stuff. This wasn't garbage. And, you know, we got to know the kids by first name. We got to know what schools they were going to, because they're always playing. They're always out here.
But now, 1 year later, local attitudes towards Syrian neighbors, well, they've shifted. Complaints about boundary issues, violations of private property, unsupervised Syrian children intimidating the Canadian kids and causing the adults to fear for their safety.
So we see a lot of violent playing with these kids. They are different, and I totally expected there'd be some cultural differences. But if they find furniture, they'll break it apart and hit each other with it. They'll chase each other. There's a lot of stone throwing anyway, apart from violence.
Then this week, a violent incident after which the police were called. A witness, Andrea, who reached out to the Rebel.media, she rushed outside of her house after hearing a commotion outside. And what she found was a frightful standoff involving one of the Syrian families and her Canadian neighbors, with kids caught in the crossfire.
I heard the loud voices. I came through my gate, and right here where we're standing, I saw the eldest of the refugees, he's 16, with what appeared to be either a shovel or a rake, a very thick broken handle from a garden tool, and he was raising it to strike the dad of a neighboring family.
And what happened next?
I, of course, yelled to stop it, and all the other kids were playing around, and everybody had bricks or stones in their hand. Then I ran in the house. And
the Syrian kids had bricks or stones?
Yes. The Canadian father was trying to get his kids in the yard to safety. So what we saw was the whole Syrian family coming down the alley with bricks, with stones, throwing them. And I had to run out and intervene. When I saw the mother coming was the most frightening to me. I thought that the mother was coming to pull her kids back home to safety. And then I noticed she also had a brick, which she threw she aimed it at one of the children, one of the Canadian children.
The Canadian child the witness referred to is a 13-year-old little boy, and with his parents' permission, we spoke to him. He claims he was hit with a brick during the incident, one he says that the Syrian mother threw at him. The young boy then showed us the markings across his legs, which he claims were caused by that very brick. So what caused this?
The mother threw a rock in my leg.
So this was the mom's rock that did this to you?
Yeah.
Man.
Do you mind me asking how old you are?
13.
The boy told us tensions escalated in the alley after the eldest Syrian boy came over, demanding to fight the Canadians.
They walked up to my brother.
And what were they saying to your brothers?
They were saying that they want to fight the older one. And then that's when bricks started flying.
Now, did the Syrian kids throw the first bricks, or did you boys?
Syrians.
The Canadian boy's father told us this is not an isolated incident. He said that his young children have been chased down the alleyway by their refugee neighbors, wielding sticks with nails in them and hammers too. And it's concern for his children's safety, some of whom suffer from a degenerative bone disease, that's caused him to raise his backyard fence and erect concrete barriers around his property. So, the Rebel.media walked down the alleyway towards the 2 buildings that now house 3 Syrian refugee families. And despite some language barriers, the refugee parents in question confessed to the attack, but denied the wife's involvement. I understand rocks and bricks and some rakes were used.
Yeah.
So, how many boys do you have?
4.
You have 4 boys.
Yeah.
So were all 4 boys throwing rocks?
No. 2.
2 of the boys were throwing rocks.
مين كان مصطفى وأحمد.
مصطفى وفادي.
مصطفى and Fadi.
So did you take rock and throw back?
نحن؟
يا أنت رجيتيهم بالحجار.
No.
The Syrians told me that they don't like their new Canadian neighborhood or the home that's been provided to them, and that they preferred being in Syria and even Lebanon, where they had been housed for 5 years before coming to Canada.
Yeah.
How do you like living here? Nice people, bad people?
No nice.
No nice?
No nice. After I see in the house, the go is here. Yeah, no good.
Do you like Canada?
Yeah, I like Canada. Yeah,
You like Canada?
yeah. بحب كندا.
حلوة. أحسن من سوريا اللي تركناها.
Yeah, the best in the Lebanon and Syria.
The Syrian family also admitted that the stone and brick throwing is an ongoing issue, but that their children remain largely unsupervised, despite the fact that both their parents are unemployed. The Canadian boy's father said that he cannot understand why police haven't charged that mother, who he claims attacked his son. Police spoke with our witness, Andrea, who says that up until recently, she was afraid to report the ongoing violence being perpetrated by refugees in her neighborhood. Now, did the police exchange any words with you?
Oh, I asked them to come and speak with me afterwards because they immediately assumed that this was a racially motivated incident. We lined up the neighbors and everybody said the kids are out of control. This is an ongoing issue.
Was this the first time you called the police on this family?
It's the first time I've called the police.
Now, if they've been throwing stones and bricks and acting violently, why was this the first time?
It's the first time because since they've been in the neighborhood, I've been really reluctant to come forward. I don't want to be labeled a racist. I have a professional reputation to protect. I have a community reputation to protect. And the optics of today are that if you are anti-refugee, you're a racist.
There are 2 nearby police stations, and the Rebel.media visited them both. When we arrived at the central offices first, they said that they were aware of the incident, but hadn't responded to that call, so they sent us to a 2nd division. Strangely, when we arrived at that 2nd division, they too were aware of the altercation, but assured us that it was the central division that had indeed responded to the call and couldn't understand why they sent us elsewhere. Since our visit to both police stations, I've reached out to police on multiple occasions, and they have yet to return my request for comment. What I would like to know is why police allegedly inferred that racism had anything to do with this incident. I would like to know whether the police are continuing to investigate these serious allegations, and if the allegations are true, I would like to know why a grown Syrian woman has not been charged for throwing a brick at a young Canadian child. For the Rebel.media, I'm Faith Goldie. The Rebel will continue investigating this story. For all of our updates, click below and subscribe to our YouTube channel.